G'day YouTubers and welcome back to BushWicks Review Hub. Today we're taking a headfirst dive into some of the cinema's greatest brawls, punches, kicks, swords, hammers, maybe even an animal or two, but some of the movie's greatest iconic fight scenes that we've ever seen. And I'm talking scenes that have left us sitting in our seats stunned, maybe in awe, or actually cheering, jumping up for joy from some of these scenes. And it's not always about the violence, everyone. Sometimes it's about the story, the character, or actually the movie magic that they do to create the fight scene. And don't forget to stick around to the end, everyone, because we've got 10 insane honorable mentions that are probably better than the picks that we have. Now, let's get stuck into it. The Matrix, 1999.
Mr. Anderson.
Neo versus Agent Smith. This is where Neo stops running and chooses to fight. That subway station duel isn't just a showdown. It's a cinematic revolution. Bullet time tech changed Hollywood forever. Filmed with over 120 still cameras around Keanu Reeves.
You're empty.
He trained for 4 months straight in martial arts, and that slow motion dodge, pure movie history. And I gotta admit everyone, the first time I ever seen Matrix back in the day, it really blew my mind as a kid. Like, wow. And then forever since, love Keanu. So keep it up, Keanu. We love you, bud. Now this next one was straight up epic, and I remember seeing it for the first time and couldn't believe my eyes. It was out of Kill Bill Volume 1, and it was the Bride versus the Crazy 88s. Over 60 enemies, one katana wielding assassin, and gallons of blood. Uma Thurman slices her way through the House of Blue Leaves in an ode to Japanese cinema and spaghetti westerns. Tarantino even filmed it partly in black and white to avoid censorship in the US. Now that would probably be because we know Tarantino and he loves a little bit of blood and gore in his movies, but still was an epic film, and number 2 was just mind-blowing as it is. And even though there's a lot of memes and, you know, a bit of picking on old Bane, I for one would like to square up with the fella. And in Dark Knight Rises, Christian Bale does, and it was an epic fight at that. No music, just pain. Bane breaks the bat, literally and symbolically. Hardy put on over 30 pounds for the role, and Christian Bale did almost all the choreography. It's a raw, terrifying, quiet brawl.
Oh, your bunny!
That was really intense to watch, and you actually really got to feel Bane break Batman in that one. Not just his spirit, but his soul as well. Now, I can actually remember my brother showing me this fight scene from 2003, and I was very young, mind you, when I got to see this one, but I can remember it clearly. It was from a movie called Oldboy in 2003, and it was a fight scene that involved a hammer and a hallway. One man, one hammer, one hallway, one take. This single shot brawl was filmed 17 times over 3 days and became legendary. It's not pretty, it's gritty and exhausting, and that's why it's so damn powerful. And it was really cool to see when they did this one, because not just it was a fight, it actually went to sort of like, you know, old school Sonic 2D sort of a fight where you got to see it from the side, and that was really cool. Just like to jump in there quickly and say thank you to all old subs for liking and watching my videos, and anyone that's new that's watching that's made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. And once you're done with this video, maybe go check out some of the other videos on my page. You might just like them. And don't forget to stick around for the 10 honorable mentions at the end. But let's get stuck back into this video, guys. Now, out of all the Captain Americas, I think this happens to be my favorite, and it's the Winter Soldier. And this fight happens to be the elevator scene, because I know Chris Evans put a lot of work into that, getting that scene right. Before we get started,
does anyone want to get out?
A claustrophobic masterpiece of close quarters combat. Chris Evans trained in Krav Maga and Filipino martial arts to nail the slick scene.
It kind of feels personal.
And I gotta admit, it was one of the coolest scenes. Once you get to see all, like, you know, sort of the Hydra boys piling in the elevator, you sort of know what's going on, and I think, you know, old Captain does too, and he figures it out, but he sorts it out his way, and obviously a really cool way. Now this fight scene comes directly from the hands of Sir Ridley Scott, and it comes from the movie Gladiator, and it's when Maximus versus Commodus, the end battle. A man fighting wounded against the Emperor who ruined his life. Russell Crowe was actually injured during the filming. The emotional stakes made this final Colosseum duel unforgettable, and it helped Gladiator win Best Picture. And I gotta admit, I love Sir Ridley Scott. Like, His films that he's directed has been epic, like from the Aliens as well as Gladiator. There are a lot of films that he's done. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out, guys. So Ridley Scott, he's a great director. Gotta love the old redemption stories, but you gotta love it when they bring a new redemption story from an old redemption story, which is funny to see. And we have that with Creed in the Adonis versus Leo fight. One take, a full boxing match in one unbroken take. No cuts. Michael B. Jordan trained with real pros and took real punches. It pulls you into the ring like never before. 13 takes were filmed, the final one was perfection. So that's pretty cool to see. So that's obviously why, good old Michael B. Jordan trained, because still to go 13 takes and then, they're finally like, all right, last one's good. That's a lot of rounds in the ring. Gotta love you, Michael B. Now he's back again. Gotta love him, the main man Keanu, but this time he's in John Wick Chapter 3, and it happens to be the knife fight in the museum. In this scene, Keanu turns a weapon museum into complete chaos. So many blades fly through the air, and most of them hilariously bounce off before one finally sticks. It's brutal, darkly funny, and brilliantly choreographed. And I gotta admit, as again, love me Keanu, he's one of the greatest, I reckon one of the greatest actors ever, and it was really cool to see that he still does all his old John Wick stunts. Now this movie really hits home for me, especially because I got to watch this movie with my grandmother, who was a little old country lady, like I'm talking way out in the sticks country lady, but see, she had a fascination for martial arts movies, and we're talking about Enter the Dragon, and it's the Bruce Lee scene where he versus Hans right at the end. In the mirror room, the mirrors aren't just for style. They symbolize deception. Bruce Lee choreographed it himself and insisted on deeper philosophy in the fight. The room was so disorienting that the cameras kept capturing their own reflections. And I gotta admit, that whole movie was just epic to see, and then I love it so much because it just reminds me of the times that I got to spend with my grandmother and watch martial arts videos at that, especially with an old country lady. Gotta love you, Grandma. Now this is another old one, but a funny one. It's actually got a fight scene between Rodney Piper and Keith David. Now I don't know if you remember Keith David, but Keith David, he's a very funny actor. And a quick rundown on Keith David would be, if you've ever seen If There's Something About Mary, he's a fella that's like, well, how did you get the beans above the fry? Now Roddy Piper versus Keith David over a pair of sunglasses. Yep, but it's one of the longest, most stubborn street fights ever filmed. Nearly all of it is real. Piper and David rehearsed for 3 weeks and only pulled punches at the last moment. Now that's some cool old school stuff right there. You don't see that these days. Watching these scenes really brings back some nostalgia and some happy moments, but also it makes me think about why they just don't make us flinch, because they tell a story. It's not always just about the violence and the guns and going down a hallway with a hammer or maybe a knife toss in New York. They all carry emotional weight. It's more than just punches and kicks. It's all about telling the story, and I've got to admit, it's pretty cool once you find out how they're choreographed and how much effort they put into these. Now let's get stuck into some of the bonus content, guys. Spider-Man 2. Spidey versus Doc Ock on the train. Incredible use of CGI and practical effects. Tobey Maguire actually performed on wires across moving platforms. One of the greatest superhero action scenes ever made. First Strike. The Jackie Chan ladder fight, improvised combat at its finest. Jackie choreographed it using real props with no doubles. He even broke an ankle and finished the scene anyway. Now that's a legend. Kingsman, The Secret Service. The church massacre filmed in one shot. Colin Firth, yes, Mr. Darcy become a one-man killing machine. Over 60 kills in 3 minutes, and it was really intense to see, and pretty cool how they mix the music in with that. The Revenant. Now I know you guys are gonna eat me alive for this. A bear attack, not a traditional fight, but I gotta admit, it's as tense as hell. Shot in natural light and choreographed to mimic survival instinct. Leonardo DiCaprio called it the most difficult scene of his career. And come on guys, he was in Titanic. The Protector. Tony Jaa's 5-story fight. One take stairwell scene. He destroys over 50 plus fighters without a single cut. Real bones were broken and Jar did it all himself. He even said sorry, but it was all for the film. Ip Man versus 10 black belts. Donnie Yen's Wing Chun mastery. Fast, brutal and spiritual. Broke his nose mid-scene and kept going. And we gotta love Donnie Yen, he is an absolute legend. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. The throne room fight with Rey and Kylo teaming up for a ballet of red and fire. Practical stunts and zero slow motion make it stunning and not too bad of a Star Wars movie. Black Panther: T'Challa vs Killmonger. Two kings, one crown. The waterfall duel was choreographed with African martial arts influence and took 2 weeks to film, and was an incredible fight to see even though it was just for a movie. Terminator 2. T-800 versus T-1000. The special effects used liquid metal CGI, a world first. The duel in the steel mill is tech versus terror, and it was one of the best fights we've ever seen. Rocky 2, the original redemption story. Rocky vs Apollo rematch. The final round is cinema gold. Stallone wrote, directed and starred in it. It was the emotional climax of the underdog story. So there we have it everyone. 10 legends that were on the list and 10 easily that could have made the list. Now, did I miss out any of your favourites, or was there a scene in there that actually blew your mind? Drop it down in the comments and let me know. And as well, just like usual, just like to thank all my old subs for liking and watching my videos. I love you all. It's been a long ride and I love it. Anyone that's new that's watching and has made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe. Maybe go check out some of my videos on my page. You might just like them. And as usual guys, I will catch you on the next one.